Hello, and welcome to Academic Support's Guide on Formatting Your Paper in MLA 9th edition using Microsoft Word. My name is Kaylee Guzell, and I'm an academic coach here at Academic Support, here to walk you through using Word to format your paper in Modern Language Association, Edition 9. This format is intended for you if you write in English, literature, education, the humanities, anything to do with art. If your major or subject area for your course is closer to psychology, STEM and science subjects, business, then you would want to use the APA format, a video for which is linked in the description below, along with several other resources and timestamps. So if you only need to know about double spacing or your works cited page, you can jump to the timestamp below and not sit through the whole video if that is not your desire today. So without further ado, let's go over to Word, start with the sample paper, and then move over to a blank Word document and set up the elements from scratch. Okay, here's your sample. So we will start with page number and header. In MLA, that's simply your last name, your surname, and the page number, which starts on page 1. Sometimes you may be asked, rarely, probably, to provide a title page in MLA. There is a format for that. We won't be going over that in detail today. I would recommend you defer to your instructor about how they would like to see that laid out. So furthermore, the standard first page of an MLA paper, you can see your title, your heading, and the header. So let's start with the heading and header and make it in our own fresh document. As you can see, I have some font settings here. Font in MLA has a little more guidance than APA does. They recommend anything between 11 and 13 point font, a legible font, and the style book does not recommend any specific fonts. However, when you look at your prompt and rubric or the desires of your instructor or reviewer for your competency or course, excuse me, you will usually see 12-point Times New Roman. So that's what we'll do today, just to be consistent and be academic about it. Okay, so you'll double click your header space. So the top edge anywhere, you'll click with your pointer finger. I'll even move myself into this view so you can see my gestures. Pointer finger, double clicking, and then you'll see the opportunity to insert a page number. You'll click on this menu, top of page. Plain number 3 puts you at the top right where you want to be. And then I'll just put in my last name, Guzell, and a space. I'm going to change my font because my instructor wants Times and 12. Perfect. I double clicked to go back into the body space of the paper. Now that I'm flush with my top margin, an inch all around is the standard, I'm going to put in my header. So the details on MLA are pretty straightforward. You're going to have your name. You see my font changed again to my default because I'm fancy. Professor Professorton. I think that's not a real class. And today's date in the European style. So you will want to do the day first for your date. You can see there's some space happening here automatically, but it actually isn't quite double space yet. So we'll start to take care of spacing right now by controlling everything. Highlighting, you can drag and highlight, or click the Control CTRL button and A at the same time. That will highlight your whole document. We will put in Times 12, and then you can right click any text to get to the paragraph menu, and that's an important menu for all your formatting needs. Word and other word processing software tends to set their own parameters, and you often have to undo them. So we're going to go to the paragraph menu. And check out our spacing. So we want to set, what happened when I hit enter here is a little tiny, almost extra space got put in. Let's set that to 0, this to double. And now so you can see there's a little more space there. So it's actually double space now. Tricky, right? So I've removed extra spaces before and after paragraphs when I hit enter. And now I'm going to put my title in. For the sake of covering bases, I'm going to put someone else's work in my title. Like, so let's say I'm in this English class and I am analyzing Macbeth, the Shakespeare play, the Scottish play. Now, often when students conduct an analysis of someone else's work, they're tempted to only put the title in their title. And that's not quite what you want to do. Oh, look at me. Because that insinuates that you are taking the title from William Shakespeare. He wouldn't fight you for it now, of course, but it's also not as accurate as you want it to be. So this is how you format a title in MLA. All the major words capitalized, so my little prepositions of and in didn't make it to the capital camp. And I also have italicized Macbeth. Longer works get italicized in MLA, so plays, in this case play, a TV series, a book, and a newspaper, and shorter works that fit within would go in quotes. So a little tip for that I learned as a freshman in high school is if you can hold the work, it's so short, with clothespins on a clothesline. Is that old-fashioned? Quotes. Otherwise, you will be italicizing. You simply highlight and hit Control I, or here's your formatting buttons here for text. That's italic. Great. Next. Okay, let's talk about titles under this title. So a subtitle or a sub heading in MLA is similar to APA in that you just want to set apart, it's not actually as strict in MLA as it is in APA, you just want to set apart the text in some way. So going to move over to take away my italics here and show you what that looks like in the sample paper quickly. So a note about headings. This is our sample paper that will also be linked in the video below, and the text of this paper itself teaches you how to format an MLA. So it's very meta, it's a thing within a thing, but come with me. So you'll see this is just the standard 12 point and it's bold. It's in title case, just like any title would be. And we move through seeing sections of the paper in this style of heading. So if I wanted to have these sections, let's say it's a really long paper and I'm going to analyze the kings and queens and maybe the court with gender in this play, then I might want to have tons of different headings and maybe even subheadings under that. All you have to do is Control B or make it bold here and put introduction. I'll write some text about the play. Many works of Shakespeare's time were concerned with gender. I might get into the rules of Shakespearean plays where women weren't allowed to act, so the men dressed up as women and played the female roles in the plays. Whatever. I don't have a thesis yet, and that's okay. You can come to academic support if you need help with your thesis. But this just sets apart my introduction from other sections. Do you always need to have section headers? No. If it's a 3-page journal, you probably will not get too into the weeds that you need those sections. Students often find it helpful to put these in and then maybe take them out later. They keep you kind of outlined and organized. But that's pretty much how you do it. And if you want to put any heading in, you need to have at least 2 of that same heading. So if I leave introduction here and never put another heading in, readers might think my whole paper is just my introduction, and that shouldn't be true. So be careful with that little rule. We're going to jump to the Works Cited page and talk about in-text citations. You'll see a few different kinds of quotation here. So this is how you format a block quote, for example. That's a quote that's a little bit longer. In MLA, as opposed to APA format, directly quoting is more encouraged because it's the Modern Language Association. We care more about language and the specific way something's represented rather than just the information or summary. The way APA just wants the information because it's scientific. So neither one is better, but that's the difference. That's where they differ the most, I think. I will be linking this paper in the description below so you can get into more detail about how to quote, how to integrate quotes. We have a great playlist on research and citation that shows you how to integrate quotes into your own writing. So please check that out in the description. Otherwise, the basic in-text citation is you're going to want to have an author or two, space, and a page number. When you close a quote, you'll have the period on the outside and the quotes over here. Pretty straightforward. If you don't have a page number, you leave it out, or you can use sections or lines. Since Shakespeare's plays are basically poems, I might use lines. And more detail on how to break down these other varieties like chapter, paragraph, line, section are in this here beautiful sample paper, which is linked below for more details. An image, a table, lots of great details in this sample, so check it out. And then we'll take a look at the works cited. So all you really need to know is that you put works cited because the works listed here have been cited above. For every time that you cite a source in your paper, it should appear down here, and reverse it. So sometimes, maybe not purposely, students or writers will quote someone in the body of the paper and forget to give us the full location. So the metaphor I like to use is that it's an address, and in-text citation is maybe a hint or a little bit of direction, a shortcut, maybe a nickname for the place, but this is the address. It's the full place. So you want to have both. I want to know how to get to your sources. As you can see, we have a hanging indent here and several different modes of source or media of source. This is a YouTube video. We have a journal article. We have another journal article, looks like, maybe a book. The image itself, that was that picture of Emily Dickinson above, a blog, and other web stuff. For more information on the elements that are in here and how the citations are put together, there is a link in the description also for a visual explainer on that we've created. I won't get into sort of what and why this is, just how to make it in this space. So let's take a look at a works cited page and whip one up. So let's say this was a real full paper I wrote, and I want to cite my sources. I got this piece of information from a man named Smith, and it was on page 26 of his book, Gender in Shakespeare's Time. Being creative, making it up. So I'll center my title, works cited. Technically, this would be work cited because I'm only citing one thing, but not to be technical, I'll be adding more. And we do encourage you to keep track of your sources and work on your works cited while you research or while you write. It just saves time in the end. So quick life hack. So it's Smith, and maybe his first name is Henry. And the book is called Gender in Shakespeare's Time, I believe I said, right? Possessive. And we want to have a year. Maybe it was written in 1971. This date could get more complex. So sometimes there's a season if it's a journal, sometimes there's a date. There are a lot of nuances. but just keep in mind that you're not expected to know them all, and things will be missing from sources. So that element guide linked below will show you what to do if you don't have an author, you don't have a page, or it's not a book and you don't have a date, all those missing things that can happen nowadays. And then I want to put the, this is a publisher, so Vintage is a publishing house, and I'm just dropping that in. So books are pretty easy. They all land on one line here, so that won't let me show you how to do hanging indent. So let's just make it longer, or grab a longer one from the sample to show you hanging indent. Here's a little tweet from SNHU. So this is already has the setting, so I'm going to take it away. Hopefully, I'll just show you where it is because we're at the end here. I'm not going back now. Paragraph. Here on the indentation line of your paragraph menu, so just remember that's the right click, the middle finger on your button usually, and you'll usually have none here. So if I make this none, then this entry goes back to being flush to the left. These are your align buttons, and your text should mostly lie in here except for main titles. Right click again, paragraph, and then I go to special and make it hanging. Boom. Another trick that appears in the APA paper formatting video is backspace enter tab on your second line. So either one works. This one usually has less spacing issues and such. So that should be that. And I'll stop sharing. All right, everyone. So this was a coverage discussion of formatting your paper in MLA 9th edition. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kaylee. So happy to walk you through this today, and we hope to work with you soon.